started. All right, so just so we're clear, you can see the whole presentation where it says Google Forms. It's not just a survey tool. Do you all see that? Just type in yes in the chat box is fine. Perfect. Okay, so let's get started. Awesome. All right, so here we go, guys. All right. So welcome to Google Forms. It's not just a survey tool. Let me make sure that I am recording this. Yes. All right. Perfect. Just had to double check. I'd hate to go through this whole thing and not have recorded it. So, all right. So Google Forms is not just a survey tool, guys. You can use Google Forms to do all kinds of things within your classroom, within your school, within the district. So the learning objectives for today's class is, number one, identify ways Google Forms can be used in your classroom or school. Number two, identify Google Form features, interface, sharing, and helpful add-ons. So we're going to go through that as well. Number three, create an assessment using Google Forms. And number four, create the appropriate form for the target audience. And that's those people who are responding, right? All right. So just to let you know before we get started, go ahead and chat your name in the chat box and your school, but also, even more importantly, know that there is a link in that chat box. And that link is the link to an evaluation survey. The evaluation survey is going to ask you about if the learning objectives were met, how to improve upon the training. And my name, Trisha Fontenot, by the way. Welcome, everyone. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Trisha Fontenot. I'm the Instructional Technology Facilitator for the district. I'm also the Social Media Manager and District Webmaster. So if you need anything that has to do with any of those things that I just listed, feel free to reach out to me. My email is tfontenot3@slpsb.org. All right, so we just went over the learning objectives. Now I'm going to tell you all of the things that you can do with Google Forms. All right, so Google Forms can be used for formative assessment, exit tickets, student surveys, parent surveys, needs assessments, event registrations. When you registered for this course, you did so through a Google form. Learning modules, you can use it to create visual representations like graphs and charts of form responses in sheets or in summary reports. So know that whenever you get responses in a form or data, that is, you have the ability to download that to a spreadsheet, okay? So you can use forms for data-driven decision-making, for guided writing activities. All you would do there is insert a picture for students to write about, and then insert sections for each part of the paragraph, like, so one paragraph would be the body or the introduction, then the body. You might have another paragraph, another section for that. And then the student would then put all that information together into the entire writing activity. So it could be used for that. You could also share your form with another teacher so they can use it as their own. And I'm going to show you how to force a copy of a form. And finally, for principals or mentor teachers, you can actually use this as a walkthrough instrument. So if you use a form to go in a classroom and do an observation, it makes it really, really easy to get that done. All right, so again, thank you all for coming today, and hopefully you learn a lot about the use of Google Forms. Google Forms is a very robust platform, so this is going to take us a while to get through. So if you have any questions along the way, just make sure and chat those in the chat box. We have a lot of stuff to cover. This training is being recorded, and it will be made available on the district website. I will also make available the presentation that you see in front of you. So let's talk about ways to access Google Forms, okay? And again, I'm going to be going back and forth between the actual presentation and doing or creating an actual form, okay? So these are the ways that you can access Google Forms. I usually do, this is what I usually do. I just click in the box and click on form.new. So that'll give me a new form. Okay, so that's one way to get a new form. That's a new blank form. Another way to get a form, which this is a little bit different, you can type in forms.google.com. So if you type in forms.google.com, that will open a tab with a new form template, blank templates, and other forms that you created. So you could actually go in and create a new form from scratch, or you can go to your other forms that you have and make a copy of those or edit those forms. All right. So again, if you're going to use a form that you already have, a good idea to do that is to click on it and then make a copy of it. Or you can do again, open it up, and then you would click here and make a copy. And we're going to talk more about that. So that's how you get to a form. There's another way to get to forms, which is going to your profile, right? Signing into Google, going to your profile. Mine has my picture, but yours might just have an initial there. Clicking on the waffle menu, going all the way down till you see the icon forms. And so that's another way to get to forms. So as you can see in Google, there are so many different ways to get to the platform that you are working in, right? All are standard. So whether you're trying to get to a Google form or a Google Doc or a Google Sheet or a Google Slide, you could type into your Chrome Omnibox, which, by the way, that's what this is called, and get a new form, doc, slide, just by typing that in. So right here it's forms, but if you wanted to do a doc, you would type in doc.google.com. It's really not necessary for you to take notes on this because, like I said, I will be providing this slide deck as well as the recording. So again, you can even do here doc.new, that'll give you a new document, slide.new, that'll give you a new slide presentation deck. So anyway, that's how you access Google Forms from the get-go. Now we're going to talk about the interface of Google Forms. Okay, so what does Google Forms look like? To do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on Present because you need to see this in a large format so that you can really see it well. So hopefully you're able to see this. For those of you who are not muted, please mute your microphone. That's going down to the bottom left and clicking on the microphone button, and that will give you a mute. All right, so when you open up Google Forms, all right, if you go to forms.new or forms.google.com, you can have the ability to open up a new form like I just showed you. When you do so, you're going to have what's called the interface. You're going to land on what's called the interface. This is going to be the form title. Just kind of follow along with me. If it's a new form, it's going to be untitled. So you're going to need to give it a title. Once you do that, it populates and gives that form title a place right here. So your form title, this is the placeholder. So the title would be here. If you type in the actual file name as your title, it's going to automatically come down here and be your title of your form. Okay. So this is your form banner. There are ways to change this banner or create your own banners. So it's going to be basically whatever you choose. They have themes, and I'll show you more about that as well. They have a questions tab at the top and a responses tab. So your questions are found in the questions tab. Notice that the questions tab is underlined. So that's where you default to. So when you land on the forms page, you're landing on the questions page. But they do have another tab that you can click on once people have completed your form. You will see the responses here. Okay, so this is where the responses are found. So you would then just click and you would be able to see your responses. All right, so going across the top right, this is called an add-in button. We're going to talk more about that. This is the theme button. That's where you change the look and feel of your form, okay? This little eyeball here allows you to preview the form in real time. So you can preview that form and see exactly how it looks just by clicking on the eyeball. And the gear wheel is your settings for the form. And again, we'll talk about that in more detail. But I do want to tell you that this little gear wheel, whether you're in forms or slides or docs, it's all going to, the settings are always going to be found at this gear wheel. The send button is for sending and adding collaborators to your form. So that's for sending your form out and for adding people as collaborators on your form. So you can, just like any other thing in Google Docs or Google Slides or Google Sheets, you can always have the ability to add collaborators. Please turn off microphones. Anybody that has their microphone on, please turn off your microphone. That is, the way to do that is hover down at the bottom. You'll see a microphone to the left of your screen at the bottom, and you'll click on that microphone. So we already talked about the title. Now the form description. So right underneath the title, you would want to type in your form description. Is it a quiz that you're giving to your students? Is it a survey? You know, you just need to give some information about what that form is. To the right, you have question options. We're going to go through that. We have a required button here. That's you would select this to require that students or people that are responding to the form have to answer the question that you're giving them right there. This is a more options button. And again, we're going to go through that. If you ever want to delete a question, you would click on the trash can, pretty universal. And if you wanted to copy a question, so you didn't, like, let's say that you have a question that's pretty similar to the question like you're working on a question and the next question is going to be pretty similar, a multiple choice, let's say, or a short answer, you could just copy the question right here and begin typing in. So, all right, so let's talk a little bit about the settings of a form. Remember, settings is in the gear wheel, right? For the settings, you have 3 tabs across the top. Now, the reason I chose to do settings right off the bat is because these settings are going to really change the properties of your form. And so you have to adjust those settings for whatever you are using the form for, okay? So in the general settings, you can choose to collect email addresses in your form. Now, let me say this. If you collect email addresses, people have to sign in to Google to be able to create the form, all right? So if you got my registration, you probably got a notification saying that you had to sign in. If you tried to access that from your phone, maybe it's because you weren't signed in to Google, which, by the way, you can always download your Google Drive onto your phone and sign in on your phone as well. And that way you're always signed into your school account. This button here where it says require sign in, you can choose to check this or not check this. But if you check it, you're restricting users in St. Landry Parish School Board and its trusted organizations. So basically, that's just St. Landry Parish School Board people. So if you check this box and you send that to a parent and they don't have, obviously they're not part of the St. Landry Parish domain, they're not going to be able to fill out your form, okay? So keep that in mind. If you choose to upload a file, like let's say you're doing school registration or something and you want them to upload a birth certificate, all right? This particular one will only appear if you ask respondents to upload documents. So if you haven't required that they upload anything, this will not be here in settings, just to let you know. And also, if you do select this, keep in mind that this also will require a Google sign-in. Now, that's all in general settings, okay? You also have the ability to let the people who fill out the form edit after they submit the form, or to see a summary of charts and responses. I never check this because that means that they're seeing a summary of every person that filled out the form, all of the things that they chose, all right, or all of the options, all of the answers to everything on the survey. Right here is presentation. You're going to use this tab to select presentation settings. So, and we'll go out and look at a live form so that you can see this in real time. And this particular tab is used to, when you're creating a quiz, like let's say for your students, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and escape from here right now. And I'm going to go out to a form and show you what those settings look like. But before I do that, or while I'm doing that, please chat in the chat box with me if you have any questions about what I just explained. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and go to this form that I created, just kind of like a sample form that I created, and show you this is the settings wheel. And so what I just talked about is right here in settings. So again, we have general. I talked a bit about presentation, but I didn't show that to you on the slide deck. So that's what I'm showing you now. You can show a progress bar in your slide. You can also shuffle the question order. So let's say you're giving a quiz, you may want to shuffle the question order in your slides, okay? You can, in your forms, you can do that here. Now, if you selected to submit a second response, like more than one response, you would have this box that would be available to you. And then if you wanted to send a confirmation message, you could just simply type something in here, whatever is specific to your needs. Now we're going to go across to the quizzes tab. Now, if you chose to make your form a quiz, like I spoke about, there's so many different things that you can use Google Forms for. One of them is quizzes, right? So more than likely, you're probably going to use that while we're in distance learning, if that comes to pass, which, more than likely in some particular grade levels, it will. But anyway, you can click here to make a form a quiz. And then you have some quiz options. So if all of the students are using Chromebooks, which that is what our hope is, okay? So we're trying to get enough Chromebooks for each student to have a Chromebook for their use. If that happens, then you're going to be able to click this button, and during a quiz, the students would not be able to go to another tab within that particular computer. So they wouldn't be able to go and open up other tabs. It would just be locked. So their quiz would be locked in that particular tab. All right. And they won't be able to open other applications or other tabs while they're taking that quiz. Again, that's only if that Chromebook is a managed Chromebook. And by managed, I mean a Chromebook of the St. Landry Parish School Board. So the screen changed because I changed to the settings menu. I'm right here on the settings menu and I'm going across general, presentation, and quizzes. Okay, so if you select to have a quiz, you can also select a couple of options. If you want to release the grade to the student, you would just simply click here immediately after the submission. So once the kid would take the test, then you the grade would be released. Okay, so it's small. Goodness, let me see what's happening here. I think it's because I'm just in one window. Let me see if I can make some adjustments here. All right, so let me see. Let me change the layout here. And I'm going to click sidebar so that I don't have, did that kind of help matters out? It's saying that Ashley is presenting. Ashley, probably, maybe Ashley clicked on the presentation. That's what happened. Guys, if you don't mind, please don't click on the presentation button. Allow me to present. If you press down on the presenting, then it switches screens to someone else. So I'll ask that you refrain from, there we go. I'll ask that you refrain from pressing any of those buttons. Just stick to the chat if you don't mind. Yep, no problem. It's okay. It's all good. All right, so in the settings, thank you for letting me know that, that there was a problem. Going across, again, I said general, presentation, and quizzes. For settings, you know, I chose to make this a quiz. I explained about the locked mode on the Chromebooks. Releasing grades, you can release grades to student. If you're giving a test within Google Forms or a quiz, you can release the grade immediately after each submission or later after you've had a chance to review that manually, all right? You can also allow the respondents to see missed questions, correct answers, and point values. I would not advise any of this, okay? So if you're having a quiz, you probably don't want, while the student is taking a quiz, for them to see what questions they missed. You probably don't want them to see the correct answers unless it's, you know, it's just not really a quiz, but for learning purposes. And you probably also don't want them to see the point value. So that's the setting menu, guys. Now I'm going to go over and talk more about these settings. Actually, I did have it in my slideshow, but so that's going to be there for you. And don't forget to save whenever you finish in the settings. If you've adjusted any of those, you will want to save those settings, okay? So I'm going to go back to present mode so you guys can see. Full screen present mode, I should say. And so again, this is basically just what I talked about, the settings tab, general, presentation, and quizzes. Now we're going to look at themes, all right? So when you open a form, you have the ability to change the look and feel of that form. You can upload your own header banner, or you can choose a built-in header banner. To be able to change the theme, you're going to want to click on this paint palette. That's your theme palette. And then again, you have the ability to upload your own image to serve as a Google form header, or you can choose some of the built-in theme banners. You can change colors within the theme. You can change the background color, and you can change the font style. So with that being said, I'm going to go out to the regular form and show you what that looks like. So let me go to my practice form here. To get out of settings, you could just click outside of the box and do that. And so I'm going to click on the paint palette. And as you can see, I have my theme options. If I already uploaded an image, I took an image that I had. And so all you need to do if you want to upload an image is click here and go find the image that you want to upload. All right, so this is not a themed image. This is one that I had in my, that I downloaded from Google or had in my folder somewhere. You can change the theme color. So I'm going to change this color and you can kind of see what it looks like. Basically what it does is whatever you put here as the theme banner, it kind of pulls those colors out and gives you a suggestion, a palette suggestion. And so when I change the theme color to this, you can see it kind of changes. If I change it to orange, it's going to change. So that's just a matter of clicking to see which one you actually prefer better. So that's this. That's what's changing. Now, I can also change the background color. And those are really light shades of gray. It's really not good to have a really busy or dark background. Studies have shown that. And font style is just that, the font. You can change, you just have a few options. There's not really a whole lot to choose from right there. But that's all about changing your theme, okay? Again, if you want to upload an image, you would click here, and then you would go out. By the way, this is if you want to use one of their themes. They have them separated out here. Or if you wanted to upload your own, you would click on upload and browse and go find the picture wherever it is. Like most of my pictures reside in my downloads folder. I'm not going to go ahead and do that because I really like my planets pictures, so I'm going to leave it there. But if you did, you would see a change here. All right, maybe I'll do it on this one since I'm not super cool with this picture here. So image upload. I can change. I'm going to show you just how to change this. I picked this and pick insert, and you'll see that that banner has changed, and so has the theme colors. So it gives you coordinating colors. That's how you change this banner. Anybody have questions about that? All righty. So basically, I showed this in the next slide, so I'm not going to belabor the point on that. Just know that it will be in the slide deck that is shared with you on our website. All right, so now let's get into the meat and potatoes of Google Forms. So we have a question menu. Each time you log into Google Forms, there's a question menu. So in that question menu, you can add questions, insert text. You can actually import questions from other Google Forms that you might have. You can insert pictures, insert videos, and you can actually add sections to your forms. And I'm going to show you how beneficial that is when you add sections. So let's go over this again. Across the top, you can add a question by clicking on the plus sign. And I'm going to show you what kind of questions you can add. And so that's on the next slide. But you can also import, that's here. This is the icon for importing a question from another Google form. This is inserting text or a heading. Inserting a picture, you would click here. Inserting a video, you would click here. And adding a section, you would click on this little equal, what looks like an equal sign. All right. So let's go into the next part, which is adding a question. All right. So before I go out live, I'm going to switch this over to the full view so that you can see this really nice and large. There are several types of questions that you can add. Question choice will depend on the purpose of the Google form, right? So the question choices are going to be driven by the intent. So when you click on this button here to add a question, this box, and you can follow the little arrow here, this box will pop up, all right? At the top right is where you find your question types. So are you wanting to have a short answer question, a question that requires the student to answer with a paragraph, or more than, that's just basically more than a short answer, right? So that's like more than one line of text. Is it a multiple choice question? Does it require that they check off boxes? Remember, check boxes, they can select more than one. Multiple choice, they're only going to be allowed to check one of the options at a time. You can have a drop-down menu where, let's say, I think like with the form that I shared with the link that I sent to you to register, they probably had a drop-down menu where you chose your school. They have a file upload menu. So if you created a form and you wanted people to upload things like either from their phone or from their computer, again, that's like if you had a document, like let's say a birth certificate, if it's a registration and they need or a copy of their driver's license or something like that, you would click on file upload. All right. They also have opportunities, and you'll see possibly, I think, in the evaluation survey link, when you click on that to do an evaluation of this training, you will see that I think the questions about rating the training, that's going to be in a linear scale. All right. So that's going to be in a linear scale, but they also have a multiple choice grid. So in other words, that's if you have columns and rows of possible choices, and the students can only like pick one out of each row, right? They can pick one out of each row. So let me try to think of when I've used that before. So let's say for the virtual job fair, when I created a survey, and the people that were participating in the job fair needed to select their the area that they wanted to teach in. I probably used a checkbox grid because it's possible that they wanted to teach in multiple areas. So like I would have like K1, K4, 5, 8, and they can select all that apply. And then science, social studies, each of the subjects across the left side. So again, that just gives you some flexibility in your forms to add additional information. Same with multiple choice, except there, you're not allowing them to check multiple items. So in a particular row, they can only have the option to check off one thing. All right. So if it's, certification, then they would only be able to pick one item. So again, you're just going to have to figure out when it's appropriate to use each of those things. Also, in a form, you could just pull over date or time. So if you wanted to add a date in your form, you could do so, or a time. So any of those things could be done. Also across the top, you would type in your question right here. Your answer choices would go here. And if you wanted to, you could just tab across or just click next to each option. You know that this is multiple choice because it has a little circle here, but it also has multiple choice up here letting you know. Require an answer. Right now, if I pose this question, it is not required that they answer it. If I would click here, it would turn blue and then, or green. I think it's blue. Turn blue, and then they would be able to, they would be forced to answer the question before they could submit. All right. This is a trash can, pretty self-explanatory. And just like I talked about before, if you wanted to duplicate a question, you would just simply click on the copy button. So that's copy a question. Now, I'm going to talk about this in more detail, but if the form is being used as a quiz, you will have this option, which is the answer key. That would allow you to go and select the correct answer once you type in your answer choices here. So if it's true, false, so let's say you have a statement up here and then you type true and then you type false, you would click on the answer key and go and click off one of these answer choices. All right. So I'm gonna take myself out of large mode and see if we have any questions, because that was a pretty big mouthful of information. All right, so I'm gonna go out now and we'll actually add a question to a form. So I'm gonna click on forms.google.com. All right. So I'm going out to Google Forms. I want this to be a quiz. So I'm just going to select blank quiz right here, which, by the way, these are templates. So you could use these if you chose to use them. So I have a blank quiz here. I know that it's a quiz because when I click on settings, other than the fact that I use their template, and it was set up as a quiz, I know that when I go to the quizzes tab, it's got this turned on. So I know that it's a quiz. All right. I also know that it's a quiz because I see this little answer key button right here. So if I were to type in, what color is my shirt? Okay, and it was a multiple choice, and I would type in red. This is just for time's sake, guys. I'm not really putting any thought into these questions or answers. I'm just trying to be cognizant of your time. Okay, so I'm going to tell you that today I'm wearing a green shirt. So if this were a question that I was posing to my students, I would then click on answer and go and answer that question. All right. So I can also, because it's a quiz, assign points to that particular question. All right. So you can definitely assign points to those questions. Again, if you have any questions about that, please let me know. I'm going to address this later on too in the slide deck, but while we're there, I'm going to go ahead and talk about answer feedback. So we know this is a quiz. We want to talk about, we want to give feedback to the students. All right, so I have a question. What does it mean when it's saying locked mode on Chromebooks? Okay, so great question. What I was saying is that when you're in a quiz and you check this button here, then it's going to turn on locked mode. So if it is a Chromebook that's managed by St. Landry Parish School Board, that student would not be able to go to any other tab on that Chromebook. They would not be able to open any other website on that Chromebook or any other application. So basically, they wouldn't be able to do anything except for answer the questions on that particular Chromebook until they were done with the quiz. So that is what locked mode is for. It's not going to work if they just take it on a desktop or a device that they have. It has to be a managed Chromebook. So you don't want to check this feature if some of your kids are not using Chromebooks to take the test. Or if they do, if we have as a district issued Chromebooks to everyone, you want to make sure that they haven't opted to use a family computer at home. You want to make sure that they're using their Chromebooks. Otherwise, if you check this box, they're not going to be able to access that quiz from anywhere except a managed Chromebook. All right, so just a little food for thought there. Okay, so back to this answer key. So again, I'm gonna hit done right here so you can see. All right, so when I hit done, a few things. First off, when I make it required, and I said blue, it's actually the color of the theme. So, wow, I forgot that. Anyway, when you hit on answer key, guys, that is when you select the correct answer for that question. That's how the test grades itself, right? That's how the test grades itself. Which, by the way, I know I talked about this before, but you never want to leave this as blank quiz. Let's say mammal quiz. Whoops. All right, so I'm giving this a name, and so in the file name, I have mammal quiz, and usually it populates, but it's not doing that. So I'm going to name it. So I'm going to put this in the title right here too, mammal quiz. Okay. Obviously, we know that this isn't a quiz about mammals right here, this question. So, but if I click in the question, that'll give me the ability to edit. So normally, if I click off of the question, it's just the question. If I want to edit the question, I'll just click in the box and have the ability to edit that question. If it's a quiz, you're going to have this little answer key down at the bottom. You would click on that answer key, and then you can select the correct answer. All right. Can you have more than one answer? Absolutely. So if you have select all that apply or select two, you can do that by simply clicking there. Now, next, let's suppose that they got this answer wrong when they took this. Okay, so I guess I'm going to just add another question. Let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to duplicate this question, and I'm going to say, which animal is, sorry guys, my keyboard does double letters sometimes. Animal is a mammal. All right, so I'm going to put some animal names here, right? Let's say whale, a dog. I'm going to come in here and put a bird, a fish. All right, so I have a few things going on right here. I know that I have, and I'm going to click right here, just a little note, select two. So you may or may not put that. It's totally up to you. This is just giving a little extra guidance. So I'm going to go into that answer key. I know that this is required, so I'm forcing them to answer the question. I'm going to go into answer key. I know that a bird is not. The reason bird was checked because it just basically came the third. I had answered the third one. That was the correct answer. So when I copied it over, the third option was checked. So you want to check that. I'm going to put dog and whale. Okay. Now, and then I'm going to click answer feedback. All right. So if they select incorrect answers, I can say, and again, this would be more on like a modeled lesson. You probably wouldn't do this in a quiz. You would do this more in a modeled lesson. And I'm going to show that too. But what I would put right here is, sorry, you got this. Sorry, this is incorrect. Please watch the attached video and answer the question again. All right, so at that point, I'm saying that, oh, you got this wrong. If they don't select the answers that I chose, you got this wrong. I want you to go and watch this video. So I'm going to link to a video. Please make sure that you, if you add a video, you check it, number one, ahead of time. And the second thing, you go to YouTube and you approve that video, because if you don't approve it, they won't be able to watch it. So I'm going to type in mammals, and when I hit enter, it's going to show me all kinds of videos of animals, mammals specifically. And so I might select the first one, I might select the second one. You can arrow down, they have tons of them. Whichever one you select, click on it, and then click on select. If you know the URL of the video, so let's say that you've already gone out to YouTube and you found one that you really wanted, you can just copy the URL. You know how on a YouTube video, you right click on that video and it says copy URL? You can copy that URL and come right here and paste that URL, right click and paste. So either way, oh gosh, let me type that in again, mammals. And I have my little first one here. I'm going to click select and save. Same thing here. If you want to link out to a certain website where they would have to do research to see why they got that wrong, then you can send them out to a website, and that would just be linked to and link out to a website. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to add a video here, and I'm going to click save. So if the student got the answer wrong, this is what the feedback would look like. Sorry, this is incorrect. Please watch the attached video and answer the question again. All right. So do you see how wonderful this could be? I say that using this for modeled lessons is really, really good. There's another way to do that, though, and I'll discuss that as well. So again, I'll pause because I know I had a lot of information that I gave to you. So I want to give you a chance to digest that information and ask any questions that you might have. So do that in the chat box, and then we can move on. If I don't see any questions in the chat box, I'm going to just keep on going. So again, I know it's a lot of information. I apologize for that, but there's just really no other way to do this than to show you all of the possibilities of Google Forms. You take what you want out of it and leave the rest behind. All right. So I'm going to go back over to my Google Form presentation slide deck. I'm going to click on present so you can see it really, really large. And I'm going to move on because we talked about that answer key, right? All right. The next thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about how to import questions. So importing questions will make your life a lot easier. So let's say that you already have some Google Forms that are created, and you have questions in those and you want to reuse those questions instead of typing everything in again. Or let's say that you are, sorry guys, I have to answer this real quick text. Let's say that you want to use questions from another form that you've created. What you would do is in that question palette that I told you about, you would click on this icon here. It's the import questions icon. Then you would go out and find the form that you would like to import questions from. It's going to be in your Google Drive, okay? Once you find that form, you click on select, and then this window here will pop up. And that window is going to have all the questions that are in that particular form right in this box. So then you would select the question that you would like to import. So do I want to import name field, email field, and which these are really called fields, guys. So questions, fields, either way is really up to your preference on how you want to refer to them, but that's what they are. What's one important thing you learned from the class today? If you wanted to use that question, you would ding that off. Did you feel prepared for today's lesson? Why or why not? So all of these can be selected if you click here, or you can go down and individually select the questions that you want to use in this form that you're working on, and then click on import questions. All right, so I'm gonna cut that for a minute and go out and show you how that looks. All right, so here we go. This is a form. Goodness gracious, my computer is running slow. It's probably all these little things at the bottom that I should have cut out before. So anyway, this is the import questions icon. This is what it looks like in live view. These are the forms that I created in they're all in my Google Drive. It's going to pull up all the forms that you created. I have so many more, but it's going to take a while to populate. So I'm just going to grab one of the forms that's near the top. And so here we go. I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to click on select. And as you can see, I have questions that I can import into the Google form that I already have. So if I want to, this one has sections. If I want to add the whole entire section, I would click section, the hunt, Africa. If I wanted to include all, I would select all. If I didn't want to include all, I would unselect all. I could choose this section. So basically, again, it's going to be whatever you want. I'm going to select them all and import 17 questions right into this form. So as you're going to see momentarily, all those questions will be imported into my Google form. And here we go. So it pulls them in. And this is actually a scavenger hunt, which is a really fun thing. And you see a whole bunch of sections, and I'm going to talk to you about why that is in just a bit. So that's how you import, okay? Next, I'm going to show you how to add an image or text. Let me do text. I'll just continue on. Text right here. If at any point in the presentation you wanted to add some text, you would just click on add a title or description, and that's what you would do. You would begin typing in. That just could be just a header. Next section. So I'm just typing whatever just for time's sake, but that's how you add text without a question at all. So let's just say you want to add a description somewhere along the way. That's what you would do. So I have a question in the chat box. So you could only get it from a form. What about from Google Docs? So I'm going to talk to you about that. They do. That's a great question. There is an add-on that you can use that would allow you to take questions from a Google Doc and import them into a form. So yes, the answer to that is yes. It's just not as cut and dry as it is right here. It's done in an add-on, which these are add-ons. So I'm going to show that to you towards the end. So those people that don't really want to listen to that part of the presentation, they can duck out because that's a little more advanced. So I'm not sure what everybody's level is. So I don't want to show it in the middle of this particular class. All right, so that is text. This is a picture. So if you wanted to add an image, let's say I wanted to add an image. Let me go back because I asked a question about a mammal somewhere. And it wasn't in this one, I don't think. There we go. Let's say that I wanted to add a picture to this particular slide deck right in front. So I could go to the little picture icon. And now this is within the question. Okay, so I'm going to type in whale. And I'm going to just click here. And I can choose whatever picture I want to choose. Let's say it's little kids. I'm going to choose maybe this little funny whale here. If I wanted to add a picture of a dog, I would again click on the image icon and click on search Google, right? I'm searching for a dog. And I'm going to just grab the first dog I see. Happens to be a really cute dog. So again, with a bird. Now you might do this with definition. So let's say that you are creating a vocabulary practice. You might have like search for an image that describes the vocabulary word that you are asking them to study. So I'm going to type in bird here, go to the image, select, and then fish right here. Go to Google image search, type in fish. So I hope your minds are just going about and thinking about all the things that you could do with Google Forms as we are going through this. So then I'm done, right? So I have all the little pictures that I want. But let's say that I wanted to add a picture like right at the top. So I would just add an image, like not one that's a question, so to speak, but just an image. And I'm going to type in mammals. And let's see, maybe I just want to, let's see what I'm going to find. Okay, so let's say I want a plethora of mammals. So that one kind of has many mammals, right? I want to show you, because this came up right here, and I don't want it here. I want it above this one, right? So I want the picture of the mammals above this one. So you just drag and drop. And I could put in an image title here, mammals, just to show you that, you know, that's not really a question or anything. It's just a picture. So, let's see. All right, so notice when I have this picture here that I also have this little menu. So when you get that menu, that gives you the ability to align your picture left, right, center, change your picture, remove your picture. So that's the little menu there. They have menus inside of menus you will find in Google Forms. But in any case, that's adding an image. And now I'm going to show you how to add a video. So let's say that you have instructions for the students to watch a video. Watch, oh Lord, this video on mammals. And I'm putting mammals, but you could really have any subject you want. Okay, we already saw this video. Let's do this one, facts about mammals. Select, remember you have to approve the video. Okay, so this is where this comes in. Notice it's really tiny right here and it's off to the side. Let's say I want to center it. Some people just like to have their stuff all nice and neat and centered. So I might tell the students, watch this video and answer the questions below. So I'm giving them a directive. I want them to watch the video, and then I'm going to have questions for them to answer underneath that. Okay, so that's adding a video. And the last thing in this little menu is adding a section. When you click on add a section, it gives you a whole nother section. So that might be section 2. Let's say you're talking about mammals in general, and then you move to, let's say you're talking about types of animals in general, and then you move to fish, right? So, or, you know, amphibians or whatever. You can just title that section a whole different title and then go from there. And so I'm going to kind of show you what I put together. And this is just a little form. And again, this is like a lesson model or a model of a lesson that you're just giving them for informational purposes. Okay, so it's not a quiz. They don't have to. There's, you know, you're handling it as a quiz, but you're not grading it, let's say. All right, I know it has 15 points here, but I can literally go in and take that out. So basically what I did here was I set up sections, right? As you can see, there's 3 sections, and this says section 1 of 3. So section 1 is the title. These are learning modules. This is a learning module. I have a video right here. Underneath the video, I have which planet is the largest, right? I've already gone in and selected Jupiter because I know that Jupiter is the largest planet. But I also went a step further and I went down here. When you have sections, you can do this. And I chose go to section based on answer. So if they select Mercury, then you go, like I said, you go here to and you select. Okay, so if they select Mercury, you're going to say, no, that's not the right answer. So you need to go get more assistance on Jupiter, right? Same thing with Earth, same thing with Mars. Then in the second section, so the third section, you're telling them to go to section 3. If they got the incorrect answer, go to section 3. Well, you've set up section 3 with Jupiter. As you can see, this is Jupiter. And so basically what you're doing is you're redirecting them to a section within that form so that they can learn more about Jupiter because they really didn't get it. And that might be a video, that might be a link to a site, that might, you know, just information. You might have just information that you've typed in that talks about Jupiter. All right. And then they would have another question after they watch the video to be able to gauge if they know about Jupiter, right? Or if, like some other fact about Jupiter. You're not going to, or you could direct them to the same exact answer. So you can ask that same exact answer again. So this is what this looks like. I'm going to hit preview. And you can see that the first thing you see is the banner. This is what the student would see. And then planets, learning module. You might have some directions here. It's asking for an email address. They would click here and watch the video, right? So I'm not going to get you to watch the video because of time. Now let's say that I selected the wrong answer. Which planet is the largest? I selected Mercury. And I'm going to hit next, which ignore this. This is something that I just did, added another thing. Oh, sorry. I'm supposed to put in my email here. So let me do that. I'll just put in my regular email. Now, all right, so here we go. Are you starting then to see how powerful it would be to create learning modules that checked for understanding and then gave them feedback if you chose to do that, and gave them additional information or videos to watch to kind of reteach or have them, you know, look at it from a maybe on a scaled down version of a video, you know, something at a different level. So in this case, when you get it wrong, the student gets it wrong, it diverts them to another video, but this time it's not about the solar system. It's specific to Jupiter, okay? Because obviously they did not get the facts about Jupiter. So I'm just giving them just that small chunk of information. We're not going to require the whole solar system. We're going to scale it down and say, okay, look, this is Jupiter. And so now tell me, you know, what you've learned about Jupiter. And so you might ask the same question or additional questions, okay? So again, that's how it goes. Now I'm going to go ahead and preview this again, but this time, let me put my email address in. Oops. Oh, Lord. free@sopsc. Oops. Right, so I got my email address in there. This time I'm going to select the correct answer and hit next. And now it's going to take them to Earth. All right, so let's say the second part of the lesson was to learn about Earth. And so you would direct them to Earth. All right, so any questions on that? All right, so let me go through and kind of summarize what you just learned about. You learned that and there's an answer key for quizzes. So you would just simply click on the answer key, and then you can select the correct answer or answers if you want the form to recognize it. You can also add feedback, and we talked about that. So the feedback might be, yes, you know, great, you got it right, or no, not quite, look at this video. So again, you can accomplish that sectioning off in two ways, but the difference is if you're adding feedback, you're just adding feedback to that question. You're not, you might be sending them to content, but additional content, but they're not going to go to any other section. They're going to come right back to that question. All right. Whereas if you add sections, you're telling them you're telling the form, Google Forms, based on their answer, this is where I want them to go. So if they get it right, they would go to section 3. Go to the next section. If they get it wrong, they would have to in turn come back to the sections. Everybody understand? I hope so. If not, you may want to watch this back because it is, again, a lot of information. Now, having said that, they do have other options in forms, and I'm going to go out and show you those other options. So once you've created your form, you have the ability to do, and right now I'm in preview mode, okay? How can you tell that? Because you have a back and a submit button. So I know I'm in preview mode. I'm going to get out of preview mode. Once, again, in preview mode, here I am not in preview mode. You can see all the options across the top. So I want to call your attention to these 3 dots here. So that's how you do, like if you made a mistake and you want to undo, you would click here and click undo. You can also make a copy of this whole entire form, right? So you can make a copy of it and then just kind of tweak it. So So let's say you have this one template, let's say this format going on, and you want to keep in line with the format, but just keep changing the content. You can do that just by just making a copy. If you do that, it's going to say, okay, what do you want to name it? Copy of planets. Maybe you want to move on to types of animals. And name it that, and then put the content in for types of animals. And you might want to put your initials because maybe you're sharing the form with someone. So I'm gonna just go ahead, and I would not check share it with the same people. Just say okay. And then you're going to have a copy of that form. And then you can go in and edit your form as you see fit. So another option down here is you can trash the form if you choose to do that, or you can get a pre-filled link to the form, right? So if you want to get the pre-filled link to the form, pre-fill responses, then click get link. So you would then go in and pre-fill the responses and then get a link to that. All right. I don't personally ever use that, but of course you can use it if you see fit to do that. If you want to add, if you want to print the form, you can print the form. If you want to add collaborators to the form, you can do that as well. Now, let me tell you this. If you add a collaborator to that form, all right, let's say I'm going to add Tiffany Perry because I just use her all the time. And I add her as an editor. Then she could go into my form and change anything, right? Editors, it tells you, editors will be able to view and delete form responses. They can do anything in that form. So be cognizant of that, all right? That's why you don't really share a form like this. Like, let's say your co-teacher says, hey, I want to use your form. You wouldn't give her that form access this way, all right? You would definitely not do that. And I'll show you the way to do that. But if you wanted somebody to look at your form and just, hey, tell me if the form looks okay, you could just simply click here, copy link, and send it to whomever, and they can also take the quiz, though, or the form, the survey, whatever it is. I want you to notice something right here. Right now, only people at St. Landry Parish School Board with this link can view. If I wanted to change that, I would click on the change button, arrow down, and click anyone with the link. So that's going to be very important. You want to make sure that anyone with that link can view it. All right, because as a viewer, they can actually take the quiz. So you want to make sure if you're sending it to parents that you don't have this option selected, or they won't be able to take the form. They won't be able to take the quiz, the survey, the form, whatever. They won't be able to do that. So I just want to alert you to that. So the way, if you wanted to share this form with someone, the best way to do that is to highlight the form right here in the Omnibox. Right click, copy, then go to your email. And I'm going to go ahead and open my email up. Don't get scary when you see the number of emails that I have not yet answered today. I'm going to hit on the compose button. And my computer is thinking. All right, I'm going to, let's say I'm sending this to Tiffany. Here's a copy. Here's a copy of the form I told you about. All right, well, there's my two O's. And just don't worry about my mistakes right there. I'm going to right click and paste that in. And I want to show you what you can do with this. You see how it has the word edit? right here, you would back that out and take edit off. Take the word edit off and type in the word copy. All right, so then you would highlight it all and click on this little link, and now it's going to force whoever gets this to make a copy of it. So that way your responses aren't all intertwined. So I'm going to click on command and click on this so we can go out to it. And I'm going to show you how that's going to look when you send it to a friend. So let's say that you each, you're doing the quizzes for math, she's doing the quizzes for ELA, or you're doing for section 1, she's doing for section 2, and you want to share those quizzes with one another. That is how you would do it. Make a copy. It's going to force them to make a copy of that quiz. So then when they make a copy, it becomes their quiz. No longer will they won't have the ability to look at the responses that you get from that quiz, right? So those responses will be only for your eyes, okay? And whereas if you just added her as a collaborator in this form, if you added her as a collaborator and y'all sent that out to your students, though everybody, your kids, her kids, they would all be answering that same form, and all their responses would come right here. Everybody's responses would be right here. You don't want that if you want a form that's specific to your own students. All right, so just a little heads up. All right, so we're about 217. I talked about add-ons. I'm not going to talk about a script editor. I don't think we're there yet. And I'm not going to really talk about the preferences. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is add-ons. But before I get to that, I just want to show you that I do have a detailed slide on adding collaborators. I also have another slide that has more information on adding collaborators. Then I get to the slide where I explain how to make a copy of that form, which, by the way, that works for a Google slide, a Google Doc, a Google Sheet, everything. If you want to force a copy, all you do is back that word out, edit, and you make that word say copy, and it's going to force a copy. Did you guys know that? This is like such a cool feature. I love it. All right, next, let's talk a little bit about responses. So when you have a form and people have responded to that form, you are going to have a responses tab that will give you some data. All right, assuming people filled out your form. So let me go in and find a form. So remember, all forms are housed in my drive. So I'm going to go to Google Drive. I'm going to search my drive for forms. So that's what I want. I want forms. So this is what I'm looking at. I'm just going to do an advanced search for forms. So kind of teaching you a little bit about searching right there in the Google Drive. And I'm going to, let's see, I have this, let's see, Google Forms. All right, so here is the actual registration document that we have, that you filled out for today. So I'm going to open that up, and right when I open that up, you're going to see all of the responses here. 51. The form's not accepting responses any longer, which, by the way, it will automatically accept responses until you tell it not to. And it's not accepting responses because I have an add-on that whenever that I can set to, like, whenever I have 50 people, that particular form will turn off. All right. So I can't have more than 50 people because then my internet may not be able to handle that. All right. So just to show you, this is what that looks like. Those responses look like. Okay. If I wanted to go and look at individual responses, I would click on here. So this is a summary. That just gives me a summary of all responses. This is individual, so it gives me the names of the people and whatever else, okay? That whatever other information that I asked for. Now, one additional thing, you can print individual responses here if you choose to do that. You can also trash those responses or delete a response. Let's say that one person filled it out, but then she said, you know, I'm not coming today, I can't come. I could just go in and delete her response if I wanted to. Last thing I'm going to show you about responses is the fact that you can go right in here to this little 3-dot menu, and you can actually, I'm not going to talk about these because I don't feel that it's really necessary for that right now, but you can actually download those responses. And it will download them into an Excel spreadsheet. So if you wanted to do that, that is an option, just to let you know that. All right, so that's responses in a nutshell. And again, if you selected print, you would just find the printer and start printing out those options. Now, the last thing that we have, and I think I'm doing pretty good on time, because I said from 1 to 2:30, and it's 2:22. And right now I'm at form add-ons. So that's the last thing I have to cover, but I do see that I have a question right here. Can you share your PowerPoint with us? Absolutely. So that when you train your teachers, you can have access to the PowerPoint. Yes. Mine is yours, guys. If you need access to this, you definitely will have it. You can use it how you want. Definitely. So great question. And yes, indeed. All right. It's not perfect, by the way. Like, see, I'm noticing right now I have this little print because I copied, and so I need to take that off. That was just a little lingering thing there. It's not going to be perfect, but I tried to do my best. So, okay, so with add-ons, let me just show you. An add-on is basically a Chrome extension. All of the add-ons that you see here are add-ons that are either open because I asked Tom to open them, or things that well, all of these are opened to you guys. So you have the ability to add these extensions to your Google Forms. So I'm going to just go and explain what they are. So if you want to add an add-on, if you choose to add an add-on, you can simply click right here in this little icon right here. That's where your add-ons are going to be. If you want to find add-ons, you would go to the Chrome store, right? Or extensions, chrome.google.com, web store, category extensions, because it's called an extension. I call it an add-on. It's really called a Google Chrome extension add-on. So just not to have to type all that. Anyway, these are the extensions that I have added in my forms. A booking calendar. That's going to extend the functionality of forms by enabling respondents to book appointments within forms. All right, so that's what that add-on will do. Form notifications, I talked about that. That will send you a notification when someone has completed the forms. Personally, I like that in some instances. In some instances, I don't. You can say, hey, send me a notification when this form has reached 50. So that tells me that my class is full, all right? But form limiter will do the same. Form publisher, I don't really play around with. I added it. I wasn't a fan, so I'm not going to really talk to that one. You can go out and find it if you like and use it. I just didn't remove it from the list. yet. Form limiter. This is what I use to limit the number of people that can fill out the form. So I cap these classes or these trainings at 50. So that's what I put in the form is 50. But you can also do it by date and time. So let's say that you want to close the form on, you know, a week from now or 2 weeks from now, then you can do that as well. And I'm going to show you these. So I know I'm just going over them, but just as I did before, I'm going to go through and show you them. Form Recycler will extend the functionality of forms by enabling the merging of forms or allowing you to grab questions from other forms. Well, we know that you can already do that within forms, right? But they also have an add-on that will allow you to even merge forms together. So that's, you know, a pretty neat add-on that you might want to check out. I also have icons for slides and docs. This just has really cool icons that you can use within forms. Some of it I like, some of it is paid, so it just kind of depends what, you know, what your needs are. Problematic import. I haven't really had a chance to play around with it. I think that it's opened up, but I haven't had a chance to play with that. And there is another add-on, which I'm going to have to send you an update about, and that's the one where you can pull from Google Docs. I'm not sure of that particular add-on because I think I sent an email to Tom to whitelist that, and it hasn't been whitelisted yet. So as soon as I get that whitelisted and I'm able to play around with it, then I can show you that. So anyway, guys, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and, for time's sake, go out really quick like to these add-ons and show you. So this is not accepting responses anymore. I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to click on the add-on button, and then you can see form notifications. I use that all the time. I'm going to click on open. And this is where I told you that you can actually notify people. Like, that's how you get notified with a thank you email, or you know, I can get notified of form responses. So if you fill out the form, for every 10 forms that are filled out, I can get a notification. I can change this. I can also send you a thank you email. So that's form notifications in a nutshell. I'm going to X that out. The next add-on is going to be form limiter. That is what I'm going to show you. All you do is click on the add-on, click on set limit. Once that opens up, you can either select to set a limit for date and time, or or a number of people. So this is where I put that 50 and say, and it just says the form's not accepting responses anymore. Or if I select date and time, then it's going to select the date and the time that that is due. And it's going to email me when the submissions are closed. So that's form limiter. This is form recycler. So merge forms if you want, that'll merge. It'll ask you which forms you want to merge, or recycle form questions, which we already have that ability right within Google Forms. And I showed you that, right? That's where you just go and grab questions from within a form. Icons for slides and docs. Again, you know, that's just little icons that are going to come right on the corner. It's going to show you, it's called the flat icon. And you can then go and put little icons in. So it'll have home button, a Facebook button, Google, you know, different little icons there. So you can go ahead and check that out on your own. I placed a link in this chat box all the way at the top for an evaluation. I need you to do that evaluation. When you do that evaluation, guys, that tells me that you are here, okay? I can't go through and like know everybody's here. As you can see, there are 50 people that signed up for this class, but not all 50 were actually present. So what I need you to do is your proof that you were present in this class is that you need to click on that link within Google, within this chat box. I said Google because I'm always saying Google. Sorry about that, guys. Click on that link and fill out that form to give me some feedback, evaluation feedback on this course. All right. I do want to thank you all for being such a great group. Really, really quiet and respectful. I appreciate that. You asked some great questions. Please be on the lookout for that course evaluation again. That's going to be important for you to complete. And the recording will be available on the instructional technology section of the website under videos, as will this slide deck, okay? So if you have any questions, you can find me at tfontno3@slpsb.org. tfontno3@slpsb.org. If you have any other questions, please feel free to chat those in the chat box. Okay, so somebody's saying that they didn't get the link. So let me go ahead and grab that link again. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Let me grab that link. I'm hoping that you can get it right out of there. Could be pasting the link in. Tell me if you got it, guys. Say, yes, I got it, or no, I didn't. And somebody click on that link and let me know if it's working. Perfect. So let's see. I have a couple of questions. Thanks for the information. Learned a lot. I'm glad you learned a lot. Please, please, please give me that feedback. I need it. I'm working on my Google certification, well, Google trainer certification, and I have to do a case study, and that's going to help me with this case study that I have to do. So I would appreciate your feedback, and be honest. You don't have to put everything good. If you thought there was a way that I can improve, please do so. This is not about me getting all high marks. This is honest feedback. That's what I want from you. Thank you all so much for coming. I have another meeting at 3:30, and my phone has been blowing up because there are some needs that I need to attend to. So thank you, guys. I really, really appreciate you coming in. Again, I hope you learned a lot. Please go click on that link to the evaluation right now as I'm about to end this session so that I can go into another meeting. By the way, I used Google Meet for our video conferencing today. I'm trying to get used to using Google Meet rather than Zoom, just because I know that Zoom is a paid application. I don't know how much longer it's going to be for free. And I also love the fact that you can meet with your students right within Google Classroom with Google Meet. So I also know that they're having some great updates coming down the pike, and so I'm looking forward to those updates. And so anyway, for those of you still in, we have a training on, I have a training on Friday, actually 2 trainings, one on Google Classroom and one on Google Meet. So if you haven't registered for those, they're full, but I will be conducting those trainings again next week. So everything I did today, I'll be doing again next week. Anybody have any questions? All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and end the training, and we will see you soon. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Okay, I'm going to turn on my video and tell you all goodbye. Can you see me? I don't know. Let me take off my, let me stop my presenting. All right, I'm going to stop recording and stop presenting. Stop presenting. And I'm going to stop recording. Bye, guys.